Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So this is sort of a trash to treasure, but it's not really, I guess. It's repurposing something. So if you guys remember, the storage boxes that we had in our cubies were from IKEA, and they fit the cubies perfectly. I have been wanting to get some storage baskets for my coffee table. My coffee table is from IKEA. It is originally a shoe holder, like you're supposed to sit on the bench and put your shoes under there, but I have been loving it as the perfect coffee table for in front of this couch, because it's well, even before we used to use ottomans, but it's got recliners on it, so you really can't have a deep coffee table and then mom has to walk by, so it just ended up being perfect for this space. However, the two shelves have become like a catch-all: Bible study materials, old magazines, computer equipment, and that kind of stuff. But I just really wanted it concealed, so I was thinking about baskets. I was thinking about having baskets that you could just easily pull out and get to the stuff. When I went to go price them, because the space is only 6 inches high and it's as long, and you know, I needed like perfect sizes, the cheapest I could find baskets, and they were plastic, was $10 each. You can get 4 for $40, and I kind of needed 6 at that length of width. But anyway, what I realized was I had broken down all of these storage bins from IKEA, and I piled them to give away. What I just said to Jimmy was, let's leave them until we're done organizing the closet, and then when we're done, we'll give them away. But as I was sitting here the other day trying to find these things all on the internet, I mean, I looked in my local stores first before, but then I went on the internet trying to find the perfect boxes. I realized I could make them. So I was thinking, okay, recycling cardboard boxes and wrapping them in rope or jute. And I realized for the length that I needed and the height and everything, I'm probably gonna end up using $9 worth of rope, excuse me, just to cover for one shelf. We're back to square one. But I thought these, if I cut these down to 6 inches with enough room to put the cover back on them, I can probably even relocate the label. So if you've never seen these before, and they do have a name, I'm sure I will, maybe I'll look up the name and I'll put it down here. I don't even know that you can get them anymore. But what it is it's a 2-part. So this is the bottom and sides. And this part is the bottom and front and back. So this particular box has double supported bottoms. I've loved them. They've been so great the past, 15 years we've been using them. They come with this tag holder that you could see. It's just punched in. You actually do that yourself. And it comes with these handles. But what I thought I could do was cut them down to 5.5 inches, because it'll accommodate the double bottoms as well as the lid, and relocate the label holder probably to the side, because these will actually go this way on my shelf. So I'll relocate the label to like the front, so it'll face the living room, and then I'll be able to put the cover back on them. And this way, if I don't cut them perfectly, the cover will cover whatever anyway. And it comes with these 3 bolt and screw combinations that you have to like put the boxes together yourself. But I think, and I have my ruler out, but I'll check in a second, but I think I could just cut right above the second hole and it'll be big enough, or small enough, short enough. So I figured I would share that with you. I mean, a lot of people are doing trash to treasures, and I talked to my sister Janie about doing trash to treasures, and she's like, Jerry, that's all we've ever did our whole life. I actually think I told the story, I'm gonna digress on this instructions, but I told a story on my channel once that the china closet in my home at 481, the china closet, before 2000, let's put it that way, the china cabinet that my parents bought when they first bought the house was the only piece of furniture that was new. Like, that wasn't a hand-me-down that we've not ever had, but that we had in that space. Everything else was either garbage picked, hand-me-downs, or whatever. So we've been trash to treasuring for our whole lives. We've been dumpster diving, trash to treasuring, garbage picking, whatever you want to call it. Upcycling. They have all these fancy names for it now. But anyway, so what I thought I would do is just take you along with me to show you the process, and then yeah, and then see if you are interested in anything else. So you guys let me know. So as I mentioned, the shelves I needed were 6 inches high, and I have to tell you, I am super glad that I didn't pay for anything, because first of all, not only do I love the finished product, but my husband actually measured them for me. So you'll see why I mentioned that in a second. So basically what I did was, whether you do this with a cardboard box, whether you do this with a box that already exists, it's going to be a little harder with wood because you probably need wood tools. But what I did was I measured from the bottom up the side. I needed the bottoms to stay where it was. And I measured up the 6 inches, which did happen to leave the 2 holes, which the 2 holes actually about a 1/4 inch above the middle hole was 6 inches. So I did that measurement. I transcribed it all the way around. You measure twice in 2 spots and then, connect the 2 lines. We've done that lots of times before. And then as you can see, I'm actually using Jimmy's box cutter because when I went in to get my ruler, I forgot to get my utility knife, and then I just got the lazies. As a matter of fact, I even forgot to get my cutting mat. I really got the lazies, and I ended up like marring up my table, but that's okay because I just took some Old English scratch cover and it worked fine. So as I mentioned earlier, these boxes have these name tags in them, and they're basically piece of metal. It's got 4 prongs, pushes in all 4 spots. So what I did was I took that actual piece. I took because I'm showing you on white, I took a white chalk marker. I marked the 4 spots, and then I just took the ruler and did a tiny bit of scoring in those 4 spots. But then to really send it home, I leaned it over the edge of the table and pushed in just very gently. You want to be firm, purposeful, but gently at the same time, because you want to go in, but you don't want to go all the way in there. You create a huge gash. Okay, and now as you can see, I actually messed up and I was putting it on the side where the handle was originally. So it kind of worked to my advantage that Jimmy messed up measuring in the long run. Because as these, like I mentioned before, these boxes actually lay in the opposite direction as way they were intended. So the label being on the outside, I really needed it to be on the side of the box, not the end of the box. And as you'll see in a minute, we have to cut them down more. And I ended up not being able to use the middle bolt. And I'll give you just a really quick synopsis of what that looks like in my life right now, or an option to fix it. So these actually come with a really cool set, and this is where you can see I have taking everything that's going to go in its spot and just put it in the box, and realized right here, that doesn't slide all the way in because there is a cross brace going across the middle of the top shelf that he did not account for in his measuring. So I basically had to hold the box up there with no lid so I could mark how low I needed to cut it. And then I went back to the drawing board. I took the screws back out. I measured down the extra amount, which ended up being about 5¼ inches that I needed to cut it down to, which was a huge difference, but it still is plenty enough storage for that space. I will tell you, those about 4 boxes don't hardly have anything in them. But what I did have to do then was I had to decide if I was going to put another additional hole towards the top, or if I was just going to leave it. And after talking to Jim, because we're leaving the covers on here, we just decided to leave it. This is not storage that we're going to utilize every day. In fact, there is one box that he will probably access 3 or 4 times a week that we were thinking maybe we would just put a second set of bolts on that particular box, or we may just do it to all of them in the future, just like another project day. But for right now, it's really okay. The box cover holds the box from like splaying out with the stuff in it, which is great. So it's not a necessity, but it does make it as firm when you pull it in and out without the cover on it. So just something to consider, But basically, I'm telling you this, and I left this mistake in here because you sometimes have to adapt your plans. Like we talked about this very recently. You make a plan, you have to be flexible, you have to be prepared for something to go wrong. So now I'm showing you me just measuring down or cutting down all of the sides and then repositioning that plate onto the side. And then when I was all done, I did this with the other 3 boxes as well. And I really do love how they came out. I really do. They don't sell these boxes at IKEA anymore, so I wasn't able to find the name. But I'm so in love with the ones that we got to replace it with. And you guys have seen that in the other organizing videos for the office. I just don't know exactly how I want to label them just yet, so we're still working on that. Okay. Now measure twice, cut once. Again, when you use your ruler, when you use your utility knife, make sure you use your metal ruler, if at all possible. Sometimes wood could skip up. Sometimes the wood ruler with the metal frame is okay. The little metal thing that goes down the middle is okay, like an older ruler. But again, I personally have skipped up my ruler on them a few times. Plastic rulers you can gouge right into, so I always recommend a metal ruler. But again, measure twice, cut once, and then make sure you measure after your husband measures. No offense, husbands. I guess he heard that. That was Jim making a raspberry. But this was not the only project on this video that I let my husband measure, but didn't realize till after the fact that I should have followed up with my own measurements. But you'll see how we adapt. So as you can see here, we start to put the 4 connections together, and then the cover was what holds this box together. And it does fit absolutely beautifully. And one thing I'm going to recommend is if you do make a box with a cover and a label, make sure you put the cover on before you measure where you want your label. Because we did run the risk of, if we had put it widthwise between the top and the bottom, and the cover comes down like an inch, it would have might have gone over the label, seeing these boxes were so narrowly tall. And here's how they look all together. I don't have them labeled. I just think they look super cute. And I love the fact that they're black, and the table's black, and all things black. So the next project is, we got this new sofa. It's a dual recliner sofa, and it's not a wall saver. It needs to have something that keep it X number of inches from the wall. So what we're doing is we're going to create a sofa table. And again, this is an upcycle sort of treasure to treasure sort of project. If you've been on a home tour of mine, you will know that behind my toilet I have a shelf hanging on a wall that is supposed to be an over the toilet organizer with the legs. Well, because the new toilet that we have here, the tank is so shallow, when we had it on its legs, you hit your head on the shelf when you sat down on the toilet. Okay, so we saved the legs and the leg armature. And I knew I was going to do something with them someday because they have this beautiful curve on the bottom. But I knew I wanted to do, at the top, excuse me. I knew I wanted to do something someday. So I went ahead and I'm going to make this mini sofa table. What we did was we measured across the part of the couch that does not move, that does not recline. That's basically between the 2 recliners. And then what I had Jim do, I thought Jim was doing, was he measured from the top of the couch down to the floor. He gave me that measurement and we transcribed to the legs, accommodating for the height of the table. And it ended up being the measurement was off by about an inch. And all I did was I used L brackets to attach the 4 legs. I cut all 4 legs down. I used L brackets to attach all 4 legs. This project is not quite finished yet. I am going to go ahead and put a trim piece around the 3 sides that you can see, but I wanted to show you guys what it looks like now, so you could just stop now. I had the board, was an old shelf when we moved into the house, and I had the legs. Again, they were upcycled from a piece of furniture that we used to have. And now Hedwig has a home, my tissues have a home, as well as the fact that the couch does not run into the wall anymore. So that's these 2 really quick upcycled organizing projects for today. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Just wanted to inspire you to look at your garbage a little bit differently. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. As always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.